What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 80.
Number 80
of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one half of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Hey.
This is the first time I've ever done a show with you.
I know,
this.
the one-on-one.
No, that's not true.
We did the Patreon exclusives, but those are, you didn't have to do the rigmarole in the beginning.
It was different.
You just got to do whatever. Now you're here, you got to be locked in, you got to be delivering the goods for everybody. You got to be very professional.
Hashtag profesh.
Yep, that's definitely.
Hashtag try to be Colin. That's what I'm going to do today. No,
Colin doesn't host shows. He only hosts Colin and Greg Live, and that's just a whiteboard and a lecture every day.
The lecture. Oh my God, he's a teacher.
He is a teacher.
Colin's a teacher.
He was trained for it, and he uses it well.
Oh man, that would have been.
I'm excited for this.
Can you imagine finding out that Colin's your professor? Now, I know a lot of you at home are like, oh my God, that's the dream.
Yeah.
I'm the kid that would have been like, oh no.
Oh, fuck Moriarty.
Anything but Mr. Moriarty.
Fuck.
You know?
Yeah, he comes in, he just rants and raves, and you're like, is any of this going to be on the test? Do I really need to know about this third-party Gary Johnson right now? Yeah, exactly.
About the third-party Gary Johnson.
We're talking about American history, not American right now. What are you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen,
patches on him.
This is Kind of Funny Gamescast. Every week, we talk about video games and all the things we love about them. And I feel like this is a good duo for that.
Yeah.
Me and you.
Yeah.
You and I. We're the ones that love video games.
Yeah.
We do a lot.
Right.
We can talk about them. We can believe about them.
We can play them.
Play them, let them in. I just watched you play one.
I just finished Abzu in front of you, which you're excited to play, but I ruined for you. Now you know how it ends.
The ending, I knew it was getting there. And I'm like, I'm just going to look
Game's
away
pretty
now.
abstract, don't worry.
Yeah. But if you wanted to get the show early, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, get a bunch of goodies over there and all that stuff. Or you can get it for free at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, where it's distributed every day, Monday through Thursday, topic by topic, full episode Friday. You can also get it on iTunes. Mm-hmm. Something I don't like about iTunes.
Lay it on me.
And I need this to be clear to everybody.
Sure.
I don't like how when you go to itunes.com/kindoffunny, it does this weird thing where it reroutes to a page that's like, you can download iTunes.
Why does that? Yeah, I hate that. iTunes does that crap all the time. You click on somebody's link and it's like, oh, get us on iTunes. You're like, do you want to download iTunes? Like, I have iTunes.
I have iTunes.
Could you just open this in iTunes, or could you just link
the
to the
problem?
Thing? Yeah.
And what doesn't make sense, if you go on iTunes and you search for Kind of Funny,
yeah,
our podcasts come up. You can click on PS I Love You.
Yeah.
Available every Tuesday, 9 a.m. You can click on Game Over Greggy's show. Available every Friday at midnight.
Whenever Kevin gets to it.
No, the free ones are good.
Okay.
Free ones are always set.
Okay.
But Kevin has a week to handle that shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't stop him from screwing things up.
You're right. You get Gamescast, this big, beautiful show here.
Yeah.
You go to any of those. You can go to more from this publisher. Click on Kind of Funny. There's this beautiful page that I helped set up with our homies over at Apple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. I'm like, what's the link? You can right click, copy link. It's itunes.com/kindoffunny. You put that in.
Download iTunes.
Download iTunes. Like, come on.
The big news is that when I was walking Portillo a second ago, the Apple Maps car passed me taking pictures.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm going to be in an Apple Map.
You are going to be internet famous, Greg Miller.
Everybody's going to know me on that Apple Map. I'm excited about this episode. We've had a good day.
We have had a good day.
We decided this was going to be our date day. I greeted you at the door in my underwear when you got here this morning.
You did, just your underwear.
Then we did Colin and Greg Live all by ourselves. No Kevin, no Nick, no Colin. Then we went to a lovely lunch. Then we got some froyo.
We went to a burrito place different than our normal burrito places.
Exactly.
And that is when you know that you're getting fucking frisky and adventurous.
Yeah, let's get out of the rut. Let's go to this new place.
I was feeling good. It was good. I liked it a lot.
I did too.
I had a wet burrito, one of the best wet burritos I've had in a while.
Wow.
Yeah, their enchilada sauce was.
Yeah. I had chorizo tacos. They were very good.
Yeah. Chorizo upsets me because it reminds me of Kevin. And
because he eats that Starbucks sandwich made with
Starbucks chorizo one, and it just smells like Kevin.
That's weird.
And so like chorizo kind of makes me gag a little bit.
Sure, because Kevin makes you gag a little bit.
Because Kevin makes me gag
exactly.
a little bit. That's how that all works. But anyway, yeah, today's episode is going to be fun. On Colin Greg Live, I asked a lot of people for questions, so we're going to do 2 topics of audience questions. We got some good ones.
Okay, good. About time these kids brought something good.
It's going to be fun.
But
I want to start with Abzu.
Abzu.
Because my God,
yeah,
that game looks like a game.
It's taken the world by storm. This Abzu it's not hit the Pokemon Go
world
threshold, but okay, our industry.
It's taken Marty Sleva by storm.
No, and Mitch Dyer and Kotaku.
I guess you're right.
Blazinski. Everyone's out there tweeting and talking and reviewing Abzu, talking about it. I just played it. I just beat it. Yeah, okay. That was something I did for 2 hours.
So let's give a little bit of background on Abzu.
Sure.
Abzu, not made by that game company.
No, but
despite the similarities.
It's a game made by Giant Squid. This is their first game. the leader of Giant Squid left that
Matt
game
Nava,
company. There you go. You got some of that stuff
the
there.
art director
Right.
for Flower and Journey.
Right.
AKA two of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
Leaving here to do this.
Correct.
Also, Austin Winnery, composer of Journey.
Yep.
Composer of this game.
Look at you with your facts.
And that took me 2 minutes of watching you play for me to be like, this is a game for me.
And this
looks awesome.
And that's the whole thing about it is what I want to, as we get into this, what do I think you should play Abzu? Of course. I know it's going to be spoiler free. Should you play Abzu? Of course you should play Abzu. It's another one of those games, of course, that's going to be our games are art. And here's this thing. It's similar to my Inside thing when we did the review of Inside, where it's just like, it's a really abstract. You know what I mean? And like, I get that and you want me to talk about it and think about it, but I kind of don't like that. You know what I mean? And so to go back, Flow and Flower never hit the mark for me. I played both those games, finished both of them, right? Yeah, probably. And even though it's the journey, not the destination with those kind of games. IMO.
Flower, I like Flowers.
Flower was great
as a whole,
but like you end and you're always just back in the window. So it's like, all right, I see what's happening.
But I feel like there is an ending to Flower. Flow, I never beat Flow. And then Flow didn't click with me.
Yeah. So, but Journey did click with me. I love Journey. Journey, I thought was, okay, cool. I get what's happening here. And with Abzu, I never really got it. And I just beat it like literally 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. And so I need to go, I want to go read about it. I want to go do, the first thing I did though was jump into Jose Otero's IGN review. And he was with me there. He gave it 8.3, I think. And he was talking about like, his cons are that's a little too loose narratively. Yeah. And that's, I hate saying that's like one of the things because I love artsy games. I love people creating art. That's why I love video games, is that it's an art form and everybody gets to go express themselves and do different things with it. But it does at times feel like you're trying, is this a game for art's sake? You know what I mean? Is it that kind of thing? And not that there's anything wrong with that, but it also just does feel like, in a lot of ways, underwater journey of like you're going, it's like, what's happening? Okay, here are some of the cave paintings, or like I'm trying to figure out what exactly piece it together, how it's going. But then by the end, when I get it and I do the thing and this happens, blah, blah, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And like, the way people keep talking about it, and here's what I think might be the problem for me in particular, me personally, I should say, is the fact that everyone's talking about it as it's a game that's super relaxing. It's this game that's meditative. It's this kind of thing. That's what I've been applying to my expectations for No Man's Sky. That No Man's Sky is going to be the game that I sit there and play and chill out for 30 minutes a night and be done with it and go to bed. Jumping into this one today, I wasn't necessarily in the mood, but I wanted to be able to talk about it. I wanted to see what everybody's talking about. I get why people love it. It is beautiful. Oh my God, is it a beautiful game? That's for me the best part of the game is like at any point I felt like I could put the controller down and look back or go into the meditating, because that's like one of the big things where you see these like shark statues that you go and you rest on their heads and you meditate, and then the camera just kind of spins around and lets you, it always looks like a moving painting. It's always beautiful. Like the colors, whether they're using a very, very dark palette for, and you're underwater, it's dank and it's gross, or you're to this bright, beautiful, it's tropic, it's a coral reef. Awesome stuff there. Awesome color. Really beautiful game. Animated incredibly well. Swimming, very fluid. It's funny, I remember when we hit Uncharted and 4 and you came back after that first day and you're like, they finally did it. They made swimming in a game fun. Swimming in a game's fun here. It took me a while, being a non-inverted person, to wrap my head around it, because it was that you can go in and change it to be how you would, but even once they changed it, that didn't feel right. And I was like, back to inverted. I'm flying like a plane, whatever.
Yeah, that's always hard, that inverted thing. We talked about this before. I think with Ratchet and Clank, I was having the issue with the remake of it, where I used to play inverted, now I play normal. But then when it comes to the camera of the left and right movements in like a third person thing, sometimes it just doesn't click right. Where it's like I want one to be horizontal and one to be inverted, and the horizontal to be non-inverted, or stuff like whatever it is, the opposites.
Right.
And it just tricks you up. But then one day, it can change day to day.
Yeah.
It's like a weird brain thing.
And that was the thing of like, for me, I think part of it too is that sometimes you get pulled back a bit. So it's like, I was trying to swim, over there, right? So I'm pulling up and I pulled up too far and did like and then I was like upside down and trying to come back.
Yeah.
Minor gripe. I don't want to make this out to be a thing. It just, for me, I had a little bit of trouble wrapping my head around it, but I eventually got it. And it's also not a game where it's like, you need to be precise. You're going to get punished. None of that. Back to the relaxing thing of just like, you're underwater and it's chill. Music, as you brought up, amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I think is really important to this, is the art aspect, right? Where is it art for art's sake? I feel like that's a totally even other topic where it's like, and even talking about Inside before, there was that question of like, all right, so what and whatever. But it's like, if that's the point, then that's the point.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm not knocking it.
But with this though, I think that beyond that, like the game, whether it's too artsy in the sense of what does it mean and like let's discuss this. as art as when you take the look and the tone and the feel and the sound and all that stuff. You're talking about the it looks like every frame looks like a painting.
Yeah.
Like I think that they did that to an extent with Flower, but then Journey knocked it out of the park.
Sure.
Where it's just like every single shot of that looks amazing. It doesn't, and it's PS3, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
PS10 can be out and that's gonna look amazing because of the art direction. And I think that this is another one of those moments where the art direction of Matt Nava, he gets it. You know, he gets how to design something to evoke emotion. Just from the look of it.
Right.
Just watching you play, it's like I get the feelings of Journey and of Flower, but like this also, it had its own thing to it. I remember back on the GameCube, one of the really special things the GameCube had in terms of graphics, because it wasn't the most powerful. The Xbox by far was the most powerful that generation. PS2 tended to look better than GameCube did. GameCube was a little bit more round around the edges and stuff. Mario Sunshine, the water.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. The way that it interacted with things and just, it was next gen at that time. Star Fox Adventures, the fur, like having all that stuff. It was so like, oh my God, like this is, and they kind of overcompensated in a lot of ways
course.
with that. But I feel like that those things are what push the limits of stuff. And now these days, water, the video games have nailed it. Like,
yeah.
We've seen it time and time again. But seeing you play this, I'm like, man, this is making me think about water in video games in a way that I haven't in a long time. And it made me stop and think, all right, so from Flow to Flower to Journey, Flow is like on a really small scale, right? Like a microscopic adventure.
Bacteria in your eye.
Yeah. Flower is this like beautiful grassy fields and then eventually cityscapes and stuff like that. But it's way more, it's the idea of being a flower in the fields. Journey, desert, right? And like kind of caves, but mainly desert. Then the big question is, where do they go from there? And I think underwater is the obvious answer. And I think the other obvious answer is space.
Sure.
So that's why I think No Man's Sky makes sense getting brought up in this conversation. But what's also funny is, because I've thought about this, I'm like, what do I want from that game studio next?
That game company?
And that game company. And not to say that these are them, but obviously when you're it's the spiritual.
It's not Shinova Chen, but obviously, I mean, like that's what my thing, into quick aside, is like playing this game, and I'm enjoying this game, but it does feel like, okay, it's kind of just, it's Journey underwater in the sense of, I'm in this area, here's this epic moment to transition me into something else, and here we're back into this thing, and I'm trying to light up these different things to get that to go, and okay, that went, and now another transition. It's not, none of that's bad, none of that's like, oh, how unoriginal. It's just like, I'm not as like blown away by it because I feel like I know this game already when I just sat down to play it.
Yeah, and it's such a weird thing because people will never be happy, right?
Of course,
it's like you can never be wowed again like that because that was so amazing and such a unique thing. Having said that, we haven't had anything like that since.
100%.
So I think that I love seeing you play this because I'm just like, man, like this. I've for years dreamt about what their next game would be, and I always thought it was going to be underwater or space.
Yeah.
And it's funny seeing you play this because taking No Man's Sky out of it, you could replace that with space because of the way you control it. Sure. Like seeing the way that you were navigating and stuff, like it made me think of Star Fox, or stuff like that, where it's like it's a linear game. You're driving through, it's a kind of like an on rails space sim, but you're underwater.
Right.
And it was cool seeing the hints of Flower where like you're going through fish and the fish all join you and then you speed up each time. But with those epic moments of Journey, and Flower had them too, but it was
not the same way.
Flowers felt a bit more. Once you hit this thing, the camera's gonna zoom out and it spins around and like colors change. But Journey was a bit more of a
millions of pieces of scarves with you.
But also just like the epic moments felt like you were building towards them, and games get a lot of credit these days for being like, oh, it's an interactive movie. And then we talk about the Uncharted's of the world or the Call of Duty single player campaigns or stuff like that when we talk about that. But I think that this game and Journey do it in a way that I haven't seen anything else do in terms of the melding of visual art style, camera movement, and music.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, playing that, there were points where it felt like those Pixar shorts before it, where
Yes.
there's no dialogue. I mean, and that's one thing I guess we haven't done. If you don't know what Abzu is, underwater, you're third person, totally free to roam around, not open world. It's linear. You get areas you go through. You can go to the floor, the ground floor, hidden spots, and unleash new fish by letting them go. You have to, but then there's some light puzzle solving of like, all right, I gotta get this chain to move and that chain to move, and that'll open the door. It's all super simple. All the like gameplay hooks of it are really optional for the most part. Meditating isn't mandatory, but if you do it on everything, you get the trophy. Unlocking all these fish isn't mandatory, but if you do it, you get the trophy, kind of thing like that. But there was points, playing it where they do such a great job of what you're saying, where the action is so basic. I mean, your action as a player in this game is so basic of swimming. If you want to explore, but as I was like trying to get this for the Gamescast, right? Like I was, not trying to get every fish unlocked, and I don't even know if I would be motivated to go back for the, silver trophy. But I'm going through and I'm doing it, and the music ramps with you. Yep. The music builds with you until you're at that crescendo moment, and then when you are shooting down, this waterway with all these fish around you, or going through, or collecting more, and they're swirling around you. That is that epic moment, and that's that payoff.
Yeah, but that is that's the art to me. That is the thing that is
the combination of all of it.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of like bring it. It's not so much the what does it stand for and what is the metaphor of this. The art of it is the melding of that stuff in a very emotional experience that is driven by you controlling it.
Sure.
And it's weird because it's not that far off from the Mario Maker levels that people make that are just you hit right once and then or just hold right and run and it plays through the whole level for you. Or people always talk about certain games like even Journey is like, oh, if you just hold straight, you'll win. And it's like, that is an oversimplification of the entire thing. Like you do have a control over it, and it's a physics-based experience where you're not going to actually finish this game just holding it and just going, right? But it is those moments where you're talking about like the camera kind of messing up or the controls messing up when you do the flip thing. That was the same thing in Flower. Now, Flower was different because you had to move the controller around.
That's 6 axis. We loved it so much.
But there's you start to feel connected to it in a way that you don't with other games because the way that you're controlling it becomes like a roller coaster in a lot of ways. It becomes but you're controlling where it goes. So seeing you go through the things of fish reminded me of going through the things of flowers where you
getting the pedals and
faster and faster and all that stuff. And there's an art to it. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog. That's probably a really good way to bring this up in terms of everyone's like, oh, you just go fast and hold right and jump. It's like, no, that's not how that works. Maybe the first couple levels, Sonic's actually really more about the physics of it and using ramps and stuff to
increase
get better, play the same level over and over so you can understand how to just and like bounce through it super fast. And I think that there's that same level of like playing Flower reminded me of playing Sonic 2 in the Chemical Plant Zone when you're going through. Do you know what I'm talking about? Chemical Plant Zone?
No, I played all the way through Sonic 2.
It's the one with the purple water that raises. Okay. It's one of the most iconic Sonic levels.
Yeah.
Being little, I remember playing that and feeling overwhelmed with a sense of speed and sensation of movement, and I'm causing this to do things, even though most of it was get from point A to point B to trigger what's essentially a quick time event. But I think these games make me feel that way. Even watching you play made me feel like there's a sense of momentum. Yeah. And when you add the music to that swelling, like that's where the emotion comes from. It's momentum mixed with this auditory visual feedback combination. That it's just like it's cool.
Momentum is a great way to describe it, I think, Abzu, and where I think people keep talking about how relaxing the game is. I think that's true, but it's also in the way of at no point in this game was I up against there was no inside moment, right? Of like, wait, what do I need to do? Or even Journey, because there were times in Journey I remember chirping up to something, trying to, is this what I'm supposed to do? Or is this, it's very obvious what the next thing is. So if it is that you want to go explore, if you want to touch every fish, if you want, because you can grab on and ride them and do this different thing, unlock them all, do these different things, meditate everywhere. If you want to go and collect seashells, if you want to go do all that, you can, and you're fine, and you'll never feel like you've ground the pace of the game to the halt, nor will you ever hit a puzzle so hard that you're like, what the hell do I do next?
Yeah. That's cool. I 100%. think and that's what, there's a place for that,
100%.
I'm such a big fan of the small experience games, right? And I think that this is a perfect, it seems like, without playing it, just seeing you play it, it seems like that type of experience. I'm excited for it. I hope that I get a chance to play it soon, like just timing wise. How long is it?
2.5.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You know, like that sounds like a really good time because like you don't need more of that.
No, and I mean that's the one thing, you know, I mean, like where I am with it. I liked it. I think you should play it. I don't think it's on Journey's level at all. I don't think it's, you know, changing the game. It's got like a 79 right now, Metacritic 8.3 on IGN. That all sounds, the 7.9 seems like where I would be somewhere in there. It's good. I appreciate it. I like it. I don't think I love it. I don't think I'll ever go back to it. It's funny because like Mitch today on Twitter was talking about like a day removed and I'm still thinking of Abzu, and I'm like, I don't think I'm ever gonna think about this game again outside of this conversation. Not that that's a bad thing. Not that I'm saying the game's bad, just in the fact of like, cool, I'm kind of interested to know what was going on there, but I think I kind of get it in the same breath and just in the end, but like what was I doing in the end really? And but whatever.
Yeah.
See, Inside I've thought about many times. You know, I continue to have conversations about Inside. And not only the fact that the gameplay is amazing, not only that it was such a step up from Limbo, but of like, what did it really mean? You get in those debates and those conversations with people.
Yeah. No, see, that's interesting. And I guess, again, having not played it, I'd be interested to see if anyone ever brings this up in the same conversation with Journey in the way that I've heard Limbo and Inside compared.
Interesting.
Where people have differing tastes and neither is right or wrong. It's like, I can understand the arguments on both sides. For this, like, Journey is such a masterpiece because it did nail all of these pieces, where it sounds like this one, at least in my opinion, it's not nailing all of those things. Yeah. And that's hard to do, you know?
I mean, like, you brought up this interesting fact, right? Of like, you have hypothesized what that game company's next game is going to be, right? And that, here we go, the guy who worked on Journey left, founded a studio, made this game, and released it before we've ever seen anything from that game. Yeah. And the reason that's happening, and we talked to Genova Chen at not this E3 2015. And we're like, is there a lot of pressure? He's like, there's so much pressure. You know what I mean? To follow up Journey, to do this right, like we've started and stopped a bunch of different projects, and what we're working on now, we're still working on. That's why we're not talking about it.
I mean, I can't even imagine, because I remember when Flower came out, it was a joke with me and my friends in the sense that I was excited about it.
Yo, we gonna play this Flower game.
I saw it and I was like, oh, like this looks weirdly interesting to me. Like I'm into it. And everyone, like Alfredo, I'll never forget. Alfredo was talking so much shit.
Alfredo only shoots things.
He just he couldn't wrap his head around. But again, it was a different time then. Like
flower pistols.
Yeah. This being or Flower being a PSN game back then, PSN wasn't really a thing.
It's pretty good for a PSN game. It's pretty good for a downloadable game.
Exactly. That was the conversation. And I remember playing it. There was the demo, and I played the demo, and I'm like, this is cool. I want more. So I bought it eventually, and then playing through that game, like it resonated with me. I was just like, why do I like this so much? Because there's not much there. But I'm like, I wanted the art from it. You know what I mean? I think that is the key.
That's a big part of it, yeah.
With all of these games.
And that was my thing with Abzu, is that because like I think the theme of me recently, at least this year, has been being in the mood, right? Like Ratchet & Clank came out and I wasn't in the mood for Ratchet & Clank, and then one day I was, and I put it in and it was awesome. And then Overcooked recently, we were in the mood for a co-op game, we got it. I'm forgetting one that was another one that just clicked. It was like A Song of the Deep. I wanted somebody to tell me a story. These people told me a story, and I wasn't in the mood for Abzu, right? And I always so my reference point for that is that when I put Journey in back in the day, I remember putting it in. I did a couple things, and I texted Clement some joke about it because he loved it so much, and I knew he loved it so much. And then he texted me back, and I texted him, and then like the game kept going, and then I turned off my phone, and I was like, "Wait, something's happening here. I need to pay." And like with Abzu, that didn't happen. I was still multitasking, doing a million things. And again, not that that's I'm whatever. It's a great game. It's a good game. It's a great game. You should play this game. But it wasn't like I wasn't enraptured. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I guess that's to me that's the interesting part is I remember playing Flower, and it went from the demo to me playing it and being like, I don't know why I like this, but I do, and investing to towards the latter half of that game. Like once things get dark in that game, and like there's the part, I think it's like midway through,
like the crumbling cityscape.
No, that's the end. That's the end. Okay. But like once you're in the field and it's dark and there's the electrical towers that are fucking things up, I was like, oh shit, this is not just 6 levels that are all the same thing with different colors. Like, they are trying to tell a story. And I was like, I am invested. And that was the rest of my day. I had to beat that shit. I tried platinuming it before I was indoctrinated into this world of Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty. But I never did that. But then when Journey came out, I was so excited just because I was like, man, like their next game, this must be awesome. And it was. Like that's the thing is they took all the things I loved about Flower and just condensed it and made it just more manageable, more less abstract and just more like it's a bit more basic.
For me with Flower, and one of the reasons I think I don't like it as much is momentum. And I feel like I lost my momentum a lot in that game. Where I'd be going and everything's going great and I'm nailing it. And then like with 6-axis, I just missed something and then try to circle back and it was hard to get back. And I get back to it and then try to get back in that rhythm again of where everything was going so well. Yeah.
And with Journey, it was a bit more, I think, by the books in terms of progression, in terms of just like, it was always obvious where you're going and it was one giant journey. And in the same way that Flower had the story elements kind of go, like I was saying, where like it gets dark and then eventually it gets even more dark.
Yeah.
With Journey, like I feel like the entire game was telling a story, whereas in Flower, it was just the last half.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And that's my question about this game, where just from seeing this and from hearing you talk, it seems like that is the element that's missing, is a kind of overarching narrative that you're interested in throughout.
100%. Yeah. When I started seeing the cave paintings and stuff, and they're not cave paintings, but you know, the art of the old world or whatever, it was like, oh, okay, cool. I think, is this where, like what's going, and then you get, by the end of it, and then the end of it, it's just like, okay.
No spoilers, but.
Yeah, I know, but it's not even that, like, you know, this is totally a game that's about the journey and not the destination, I feel personally. But it didn't have that hook to it where I cared about what was really going on in the world.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I don't think I cared about, like, are these fish trapped? Am I helping them? I don't know what's going on. Why do I want to meditate here? Yeah. It's pretty. I'll give you that.
It is pretty. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm definitely stoked for it. Let us know what you think about Abzu in the comments below. I'm excited to hear about that. And I want to see if there's anybody that likes it better than Journey. That would be interesting too.
You're wrong if you do.
Damn, son.
Just letting you know. Delete your Twitter.
All right. Topic 2. Topic 2 of the day is being excited about video games.
I like how you brought the smallest piece of paper in the house to take your notes on.
That's all I needed.
Okay, sure.
All I need to do is...
It doesn't look did you get a pen that works? Because that doesn't seem like that's going well for you either.
It didn't. But you know what? We're fine. Here's my little paper. We don't have any ads today. You guys are welcome.
You're welcome that we're not getting paid.
So yeah, I just need to know something.
Being excited about video games, what the hell does that mean, Tim?
So pretty much, you know, I realized that I love video games. And
I love video games too.
Excited about video games.
I love being excited about video games too.
But recently there's been something that's been happening that I haven't felt in a couple years, I would say. And that is the NX announcement looming. You know, there's been so many rumors recently about the NX over the last year and a half. And we've talked about it on Gamescast 10 billion times. Always a different conversation that has the same talking points, right?
Right.
But it's always the talking points about a different rumor, and all those rumors sound really bad. Now we're hearing rumors that sound really good.
We got a good rumor.
And so we're latching onto it, and I'm really hoping it's good, and I'm putting all my faith into that. But the most important part is the fact that the rumor that is most likely to be true is that we'll hear more information in September about the NX. We've known it's going to be this year, but we've all thought that kind of made sense.
Sure.
And I think that it has to be then, right? So I'm excited. I found myself in a bunch of random situations thinking about that.
Just sitting around thinking about the NX.
Yeah, like I'll be laying in bed thinking about it. I'll just be eating dinner and like I just like random. Yeah, it's slow jerking it. I mean, dude, it's slow jerk worthy. You know, I'm so excited that because I was at the Wii
Time
U.
out. Can you please someone make a note out there? I'm gonna say Trevor Starkey to remind us next year about 2 months before E3. Remind us that our new award should be slow jerk worthy. We put those up on the walls of E3.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Detroit, become human. Slow jerk worthy.
Then that game company's next new game.
Yeah.
Slow jerk worthy.
Totally.
But the thing about the NX reveal is that I was at the Wii U, not the reveal, but I guess
E3 announcement.
I was at the Nintendo press conference when they announced the Wii U. And even being in that room where like being surrounded by the hype of it was confusion more than anything.
Totally.
And it was
Is it just a controller that adds on to the unit?
It felt really weird. And it's like, oh, but the system looks a little bit more round. Yeah. Like, what's happening? That was weird. But then 3-4 months later in November, 5 months, I don't know, whatever. I'm not good at math. In November, there was an event in New York.
Yeah.
Where it was the real, like, here's the reveal of it. Here's a lot, like all the games. You can play them for the first time. And, well, I guess not for this is the first time you could play real games. Because at E3,
they had all the demos.
As soon as you ended the conference, you can go back and play the demos. But all those demos.
That We Chase Me thing or Me Chase Me or whatever it was.
It was pretty much what would end up being in Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
Each of those games was its own game back then. Yeah. So, and then there was New Super Mario Bros. U, which was really, especially then, like, all right, who the fuck cares? And there was a video of the Zelda that just was playing over and over. But then at the Nintendo event in November, you could actually play the launch games that were coming out, and that was where they announced Bayonetta 2 was coming to Wii U. So that event itself, like, I want that for the NX.
Of course.
It sounds like it's going to happen, and I'm excited to see what that is. And I think that just that idea of thinking about, all right, I was at the one that was bad. If it was good, that could be so exciting. And even if it's not, like, I'm just excited that it's happening.
Yeah.
That there's a shot at it being good. That's great to me.
Sure.
But we've talked about that X a lot. It's not what I'm trying to talk about here.
So you're okay.
I want to know just like this feeling that I'm feeling right now about this excitement for this announcement of this system and the games that have come with it.
Sure.
What have you felt this excitement for?
Ooh, wow. So many games. For me, I think if anything took the legs out of that excitement, and I don't think it did because I still get super excited about games, it would be working in the industry, right? I think because then it's just there's so many things to worry about. And even what is like, I can't wait for No Man's Sky. Like, I'm really excited to get my code for No Man's Sky whenever that happens. I'm still not obsessing over No Man's Sky because of Abzu now, and I'm playing. I want to get Batman episode. There's so many things, and there's so many jobs, and there's so many podcasts to make. There's so many distractions right now that keep you away from it. My initial knee-jerk reaction to that is, I guess there's two, which is weird. That doesn't make any sense. But the one I first thought of was the wrestling games back in the day when WrestleMania 2000 was coming out, and when then No Mercy was coming out. In the fact that like I lost my mind for that, and I was in high school, right? And so what I had, this is the old days, you know what I mean? So stick with me, everybody. But I had a note card I wrote out with all like Best Buy and EB, Electronics Boutique and KB Toys and Funkoland, Walmart, because inevitably somebody would break the street date on this.
Yep.
And so like 2 weeks before that game would come, WrestleMania 2000 would come out, right? I would leave school in high school and get into I was driving a car then, right? I was 16, and I would use the cell phone to call on that sheet. And then I would get home and give it a few hours and call back. And it was 2 calls a night or whatever to try to figure this out.
991-8139.
Yeah.
The number to Toys R Us on Geary Street.
You know it.
R.I.P.
You know it.
Yeah. No, that was
and that was the thing of like, I did that for 2 solid weeks with this worn ass card. And I'll never forget, like in high school, I was the editor-in-chief of both the newspapers, and there was a weekly one and a bi-monthly one. And the weekly one, the way it would be is that I would come get all the notes, like people would write these things out by hand and give you like crib sheet notes, and then I would go back and write it into this newspaper that was the weekly thing, and then drop off a floppy disk that had it on for people that to print it, and then pick it up the next day after school, and then bring it in on Friday and distribute it. And so it was a Thursday night that I picked him up on the way home, called the Walmart, and I was like, hey, do you have WrestleMania 2000 and 64? And they're like, yeah. And this is like, it's Thursday, so it would have been the week before release, right? If that was still how, I don't even remember back then if it was Tuesdays, because I remember it was such a weird.
Things were weird. Video games made no sense.
Before the internet came around, there was no like, this is
rules.
When games come in. It was just, shit came in and people put it out sometimes. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, what? Really? You have WrestleMania 2000 on N64? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I guess I had just gotten home. I took the newspapers out, put them in my car, got into the car. On the way to Walmart, I called Poe, my best friend, and I was like, hey, I'm not coming to school tomorrow, so can you give these papers out or whatever? He's like, yeah, why? I'm like, oh, WrestleMania 2000. And I hung up on him. I'm like driving, and I'll never forget. I'm so happy. I'm so excited that this is happening. I'm driving, and as I pull alongside Walmart, I'm coming. So shit. For everybody who's back in the suburbs of Chicago, this would be the Walmart in Bloomingdale, right? Because it's across from Stratford Square Mall. It's the one on Army Trail. And then I would have been driving up oh man, I haven't driven this road in so long. Bloomingdale Road, I guess. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. I'm driving up this road. And as I'm driving up and I hit the blinker to turn into the turn lane to go over, I look over and there are these kids sprinting towards Walmart. I'm like, that's funny. And I look and they're in Cactus Jack shirts. And I'm like, fuck, like the jig is up. Maybe they're like swing in there, illegally parked probably, run back to the toy store in my fucking uniform, run back there, my uniform being that I went to a private school, and get there. No one else is there. Yeah. But they give me the game and they sell me the game and I leave and I drop the papers with Poe and I go home and, I move and I don't know why this was the thing. And like, but it was like, I go downstairs to the basement where I play all my games. And I move blankets and pillows down there because I'm going to sleep next to the NC4.
No.
God forbid I walk upstairs and go to bed.
Those Cactus Jack motherfuckers ain't going to come in and steal your shit.
Exactly. and just sat there and played that game like a maniac, and then slept there. And like I was credit my folks with it, mainly my mom, just because she was, I think, dad. I could have whatever. Dad doesn't care, but mom, was like bargaining. I could explain to her of like, I'm doing fine in school. Clearly, this is a big deal for me. It would just be these wrestling games. Like I need to take the day off for the wrestling games. Yeah. And I think I did it for PS2 launch as well, or whatever. Where I got my unit and didn't come in whatever Friday of that week, but just playing that thing and then doing the exact same thing for No Mercy when that came around, and like it was the same. It was the same obsession with as an adult. I'm putting in quotes here, but as a more grown up kid, right? Of the NCAA football ones. When those were coming around, this is like for real. I know we've talked about it a few times in like all of our shows, but like the summer drought of games that we're in right now, and you're like, motherfucker, you have no idea. Because it was like there used to be not a goddamn thing, and then it was that in what it was
early August July, would be like NCAA.
Yeah, no, I think August was Madden, right? And July was the end of July was NCAA, and it was like you're getting back to something, and like that would be the same thing where I would call around. I would be on GameFAQs, just like on their message board.
Did anyone get it?
Just talking to people
Your
about
vacation
this.
may vary.
The people who are like talking about like they're going to build out rosters so you can come get the PS2 file here and bring it over and all that stuff. And then it was the same thing. Granted, we had jobs, so it wasn't like calling out of school at that point. But like we got NCAA, and like I'd get NCAA every year. And I always talk about it, my group of friends, I was the video game guy, which was cool, but alienating, like lonely in the way that I didn't have like a friend who like loved it as much as me. And Poe, I forget what it was. I think it was, embarrassingly enough, I might have worn him down and got him to buy a PS2 for SOCOM because we could play it online and we could do something like while we're like apart or whatever, because like if he didn't want to come over, I think it was when we were going to college too, maybe. Well, yeah, PS2 when we were going to college. And so like eventually when NCAA came that first year that he had it, we were like all in. We went and bought our copies. We came back to my house and with the basement TV, and then I got a card table, and I went upstairs and out of my room and got the smaller TV, these CRTs you bring down, set it up there, and we just played there all night till sunrise, and we would play the entire season. Like we wouldn't miss a game. We would do all these things, and it would be that. I'm playing as Mizzou. I think he was playing as St. Mary's or whatever. He started his own school or whatever. And so like when one of us would have the rivalry game or the bowl game or whatever, that would get the big TV. That'd be like the big thing. Like, all right, dude, I'm ranked number 2 in the country right now. And okay, fine, we'll switch out and do this kind of thing. Yeah. And those are the moments that like sadly don't happen anymore. Like, and it is that thing of like, I'm thinking back of games that I was like, crazy, and like I don't even. It's weird. I don't even count Uncharted. Like Uncharted 4 this time around, right? Was like it's gonna be Uncharted. It's gonna be great. Whatever. Batman Arkham Knight was a treat. I remember last year because it was. Oh, of course, Batman Arkham Knight was a treat because I'm a Batman fan. I was excited to get it, but again, it was like get it and then played it for a weekend. And I remember when Arkham City, when I was reviewing Arkham City, it was like. Because, when you review video games at IGN or work in most places, actually, you don't have time to play games at work. It's like I remember getting Arkham City shipped to my house so I could stay home and play it here. But of course, I'm totally the one that last year that I was losing my mind for, that I was so obsessed with, that I was so ready for, was Phantom Pain. Yeah. And like that was the thing where when I went back, when I went down to play it, and like I had that week of just playing it down at Konami. Yeah. I was happy as a pig and shit, man. That was so much fun. And then it did the crazy thing of building my excitement for the final release, which is so rare when we review or preview games, where you go and do something and then you're sick of it. But we got it and just obsessively playing here, playing at the review event obsessively. When Kevin came over to film the review, and I had to switch to Gunners because my eyes were bloodshot because I couldn't stop playing this fucking game. Yeah, those are like the moments that remind you why you're into it, why you love it, and especially so like. For me, in terms of, like I said, I had 2 knee-jerk reactions to the question, right? Wrestling, number 1, I guess. But number 2 was Death and Return of Superman. I can see it up there for me on Genesis. And that's the one that got me here, because I had that issue of Game Pro that had Death and Return of Superman on the cover, and reading that motherfucker cover to cover every night and calling down another old note card with all the stores on it, asking if they had it. Because that was even worse, where it was like, it'll be out in summer. It's like, I don't know what that means. I'm calling everything. It's delayed. I won't know until one of these video game magazines decides to write it that.
A month and a half later. Yeah.
But like, that was another one. And like, I always talk about it like, I'm good at it now, I guess. But growing up, that was the worst part of all the hobbies I picked, is that everything I loved required so much fucking patience. Because you're going to hear about this game forever. Comic books, you're going to get it on a monthly basis. And then even if this story's cool, you're going to get that Diamond Previews catalog where you can see 4 months from now what the cover is going to be. You're like, fuck, that's even better. You know what I mean? Like, I kept picking these fucking hobbies that were so like, all right, cool, you want that? Just sit around and wait for it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. God, man, that's so crazy because it's funny that the slight generational gap in terms of when we grew up playing games changes everything because there's definitely no Super Nintendo Genesis generation game that I was like excited for.
Yeah.
Just because I was too young for that. But what's funny is I was just stupid and didn't realize it. So I remember our library eventually had magazines that you can look at, and they had GamePros. And I remember looking at one, but I didn't understand that it wasn't new because that was the only GamePro they had.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, it must be the new GamePro. And I was a dumb kid.
Sure.
And it was about Sonic 2. Now, little did I know that at that time, Sonic 3, Knuckles, Sonic CD were all already out. So I'll never forget. I went to Kevin's cousin's house, and I had only played Sonic 1 randomly at my cousin's house.
Yeah.
Playing it, Kevin's cousin's house, he busts out his Genesis, and he has Sonic. I'm like, oh, dude, like Sonic 2's coming. He's like, I have all the... No, like, here's Sonic 3, and you can put Knuckles on top of it. And it blew my mind, but like, I was so excited that I got to play a game. I mean, it's like, Colin always talks about Fallout. It's like they announced that it came out. To me,
that's
that was just insane, you know. But like that kind of like got me into games even more when I started actually learning how the game magazines worked and all that stuff. But then it was just like it was off to the races with that. Where during the place, I was so excited for Crash Bandicoot Cortex Strikes Back.
Yeah.
On PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh my God, it's a next gen Crash game. This is awesome. I didn't understand Naughty Dog's not making it. That didn't mean anything. Of course, you don't understand that. Yeah. I remember getting it and being like, this isn't right. Something's off about this. But then, and I was also so excited for Jak and Daxter. Watching the OPM used to come with those demo CDs.
Demo discs, yeah.
And they'd have demos, but they'd also have like videos and like weird documentary thing, PlayStation Underground.
Yeah.
And they did a thing about Jak and Daxter, and they're like, anything you see in the background, you can go to.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
How is that
like,
possible?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I was so stoked for that. And then that's the next year, there was a cover of VGM that had Samus, Link, and Mario on it. And it was right after E3 and pre-internet, or at least I didn't have internet then.
Yeah.
And it's just like Metroid Prime, Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine are all happening. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
There's nothing that could have possibly gotten me more excited than that.
Yeah.
And I just remember like just reading every single thing I could, looking at screenshots. It's so funny thing now, like we do these rewind theaters and trailer breakdowns and this and that. We're talking about, I got 6 Mario Sunshine screenshots, and each one of those screenshots, I could have told you
poured
every
over
single thing. It's like,
dude,
oh my God, Mario's climbing on the same things he did in Mario World. Like, that's crazy. Like, there's checkers on the floor. Does that mean it's the same castle from Mario 3?
Right.
And it's just like, why do I give this much fucks about it? But I do. And that's what made those games, like, when you get them, they were just so much better than they actually were.
Oh, sure.
Even, no matter
it was
how
such
good
a celebration that you have this finally.
You're just so fucking excited about it. And then that whole generation, man, I got sucked into so many annualized games that back then that was a good thing to me.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You're getting more what you want.
Tony Hawk. Oh my God. Give me one every year.
Yeah.
Give me more than one every year. Like I want that shit. So it's like, every single one of those games was a celebration to me.
Oh yeah,
Tony
totally.
Hawk, 3, 4, Thug 2, American Wasteland, all of those. I was just like, yes. Because that meant I was going to be introduced to a whole new set of songs that I'm going to fall in love with. Like all these new gameplay mechanics and this and that, levels, and like, are they going to remix the old levels I love? And there's just so many questions, Yeah. During that time, I was also obsessed with DDR. That was annualized at that time. And I was stoked about new DDRs coming out. And it was like every September, one would come out for PS2. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And like, it's weird to think, like, I was on GameFAQs almost every night looking up, did anything leak about the new DDR?
Yeah, does anyone know any information about this?
Like, imagine me doing that now sounds crazy.
Oh, I mean, thinking about any of the stuff we used to do back then sounds crazy. The screenshot things ring so true, because for me, it's always, in Wizard magazine, they had the first screenshot of Superman 64. And I was like, I'm gonna buy an N64. Like, I had no interest before in buying an N64, and now I have to buy it for this game. With one thing of Superman like this, and it wasn't even rings, but he was just flying a little bit, and they had like a heat vision meter. And then it was, I'll never forget opening EGM the first time, and they had GTA GTA 3 screens. And this is, you're looking at this and you're like, and it was just like a paragraph of text I remember, and like him in the coat running with a gun, and then and I'm like, how are they taking? Because we played the top down ones all the time, you know, on PS1. And like, how are they? There's no way you'll be able to. This is insane. Other than talking, like, I remember my friend coming to the door and me opening it and having it in my hand. I'm like, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Are you aware of what they're saying is about to happen? And then like things I would never do today, and I'm sure people still do, but I wouldn't have the time, and I think most of our listeners, viewers wouldn't either. But like when Zone of the Enders drops with the Sons of Liberty demo on it, right? Like I buy the demo off of eBay because I don't want to play Zone of the Enders. And then I had one friend in high school eventually, Adam Brown, who camped out for his PS2 with me. It was like I finally had someone to talk to about games on that level. Like I remember him and I going to a party, like somebody's birthday party or whatever, and just sitting there and talking about this game. And like, it was that thing where I would come home and do homework, maybe, I guess, I don't know, but do something and eat dinner and then just go disappear to the basement and just play that demo over and over and over and over and over, and just fuck with the AI, like shoot people in the hands to see their hands go down and then sit there and wiggle, hide in different lockers, move around. Like I had to have put 50 to 60 hours into the demo for Metal Gear Solid.
Demo. Yeah, I mean, that demo is such a culturally important moment for video games.
Yeah,
because I feel like everybody had an experience with that. You know, Kevin was obsessed with that demo. Oh my God. But like going to school, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
Like that game was just like, it was magical. And like the funny thing is like people really like Zone of the Enders too.
Sure.
But
not
not as much as that demo.
And that's the thing, is just like that was one of those moments that is so rare now to see the leap. Like, you know, when we talk about like, you know, Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 and there being a leap there, and then Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 3 there isn't as much, and that's why, you know, people don't like Uncharted 3, they're like, once you switch them around, everything would have been fine. But to go from, much like what I'm talking about, this GTA 3 leap, to go from Metal Gear Solid to Metal Gear Solid 2 and see this thing and it looks so beautiful, and you're dropping into first person mode and you're running around, everything's free, and you're hiding, you're flies and crap and all this, just like, what is going on? You're shooting bottles to break them and fucking with the food, and like oranges falling out of boxes and watermelons exploding. You're just like,
that time was so interesting because every generational leap, well, maybe not every, I guess we're getting to a point now where it's not so true. But back then, even the PS2 looked just enough better than the PS1 and the GameCube N64 that it was like oh shit, like this is a thing, real.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
And then you see PS3 and stuff, and then it's like, obviously it's HD and like she starts looking really real, and now PS4 is really, really real. But it's just like that distinction between this is a video game and like, at least back then, this looks real, was so crazy, because I remember right around the time with Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, Devil May Cry was coming out. And that was the thing, if people are used to Resident Evil, this was going to be Resident Evil 4, but Resident Evil 4 is doing something different.
Right.
So here's that. They decided it's analog controls and whatever. And I remember being so excited for Devil May Cry, because it's like, holy shit, this is the Sonic the Crash compared to the Mario, where it's like, you're a fucking badass. It's cool to be cool. You got two guns,
unlimited ammo,
unlimited ammo. You're fucking the guns can keep you up in the air, and you're comboing this giant hell spiders and this and that. And it's like, this sounds fucking cool.
Yeah,
you know. And it's just like that encapsulates an entire time period for me where I was excited about something that I didn't know. Like that was so foreign. That wasn't done in video games before. And it's like being excited for a franchise that
is brand new,
It's like, it's that's weird, because like you see things like Horizon and stuff like that now, and at least personally, I'm very excited for it, but it's not the same.
Sure, and I mean, I think that part of that comes with, back then it seemed like anything could happen at any time, and that it would happen fast. Games would happen quickly. They didn't take as much time as they do now, and now we get to this point where both publishers, developers, and I think in a way fans, right? Like, if you're gonna put 3 years into a game, I'd rather it be something I know about, and an expanded story on something I know, rather than come out and, okay, cool. Vanquish is cool, but it's not cool enough for me to get super crazy into. And like, you know what I mean? Like Metal Gear's fine. And like, that's where you see this balance that I always talk about with the indies and AAA, where indies are whatever. Here's Gone Home. Here's Tacoma. We're going to change this thing every fucking step of the way. We're going to give you Abzu. We're going to, go make the Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. Here's all this crazy fucking shit. And then AAA will be another Metal Gear, another Assassin's Creed, another thing here, because we know you like that, and we don't know how to make you take a chance anymore. When we're putting this much money in, where do you take the chance on it? And even when you look back at like the games I'm talking about, like I'm in for the wrestling game every year, WWE, the Superman game. Like, I'm talking about licensed stuff that I already had a connection to.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's funny you bringing up Grand Theft Auto, because GTA 3 is going to go down in history as one of the most important video games of all time. And for me, and I think for a lot of people, I would say the majority of people out there, they didn't play GTA 1 or 2. Yeah. 3 was their introduction to it. Like, I didn't know what GTA 1 and 2 looked like until after I had played 3.
Sure.
But that game was unlike any other in the sense of the playground chatter of, did you play this? Do you know what this?
You can go in this
hookers,
building.
There's prostitutes. You get a tank. There's cheat codes. You get all these weapons. You can go anywhere you want. You can steal this car. You can steal that car. You can make that car spawn. Like, you can set them all up, and it's just like, what can't you do?
Yeah.
You know, and like that was such a weird magical thing. It's funny. It's like Pokemon Go, but if there's an actual game to it, you know. But in the sense that everyone is talking about it, and
it was the first sandbox game, and it was and now we all take that for granted. The fact that if I tell you my favorite Red Dead story, my favorite Red Dead memory, it is not me on a mission. It's not me in the story. It's me out there fucking around, ran into this guy. You heard the story?
No.
My Red Dead story goes like, did you play through Red Dead all the way?
I didn't beat it. I got close to the end.
There's this guy, and I think it's early on. I think it's before Mexico in that town, but that town's huge, obviously, or whatever. On the outskirts, there's this guy, right? I'm pretty sure I'm not fucking this up. Yeah, there's this guy who asks you for flowers for his wife or whatever. Like, oh, you're passing by. He's old. You're like, okay, cool. And eventually I got him and came back. He's like, thanks, come on in. And you come on in, and the wife's dead in the chair. She's like mummified. She's been like there forever. He's a loon.
Crazy.
He's a loon. But he's a sweet man. He's just wanted flowers for his wife and da da da. And I walked out of that house, and I remember walking on his porch, and there's this beautiful sun out there, and it's all, this. My horse is right there, and I went, and this is me. I go, and then I pulled up the menu, and I put on my bandana, and I walked back in, and I shot the guy. And it wasn't because I was mad at him. It wasn't this. It was just a mercy killing of like, you're over. You're crazy. Yeah. Like, I'm just gonna do this because this isn't how you want. And it was like this weird thing of like, that's my story of Red Dead and why I loved Red Dead, that I was just so lost in that world that I felt the need to make this decision, and not only make this decision, but feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Put on the bandana so I don't get bad karma or whatever it was. You know what I mean? And because it was just the right thing to do. I decided as my John Marston, that was like the thing to do. And we take that kind of shit for granted all the time now of like, when you play Phantom Pain, and Kevin and I talk about what the loadout is and what we did here and how did you get this and that, that's just games now. But GTA was the thing of like, oh, I did this. I didn't even know you could do that. I'm trying to get 5 stars and I'm posted up over here shooting through this building. And you know what I mean? Like, that was the thing of like, all of a sudden you had all the toys in the toy box, and now you got to play with them however you wanted to.
Yeah. And I mean, that was so cool because there's jumps everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that there's a ramp looking thing. If I go off that, I might be able to jump over the river.
Yeah.
If I land in the river, I'm dead because you can't swim.
Sure.
It's one of the things you can't do. But if I make it over, that's
if you get the Banshee
cool.
and you hit it at just the right
exactly.
place.
So, but then you do it, and then all of a sudden you go in there, and it turns into slow mo, and the camera turns around, and then all of a sudden it says like, I forgot
stunt jump.
Stunt jump.
Yeah.
And you get points and stuff. And I'm like, that was part of this.
Yeah.
Like, they thought about that. They thought someone's going to want to do this, so they put ramps everywhere, and that's part of the fucking game. That's not even really part of the game. It's an extra thing. I'm like, oh my God. And that's when, from GTA 3 to Vice City, was like being excited for Vice City.
Sure.
At that point, it's like, it's so funny because it wasn't even the question of like, how are they going to fuck this up that we have now, where it's So, we're so jaded with all of it, where it's just like, they can't capture the magic, whatever. Then it was just, this is going to be the best thing ever.
Phil Collins, the 80s.
Oh my God.
Miami. Yeah.
And they just made so many right calls with it too. Rockstar's so good at marketing and all that stuff. But the production of that game, the soundtrack, the look, the colors,
Ray
the
Liotta,
actors, oh my God, like they built hype like no one else can.
And that was the thing of, I remember being in college and like, the PlayStation 2 era, it starts in my senior year with me and Adam Brown camping out at a Meijer for 9 hours to buy a PS2s. And then I took it to college with me, and I was like the only person in our dorm to have it. And so like, I remember when GTA 3 dropped, getting GTA 3, and the deal is that I left my door open while I played, and people would just come in and sit on the floor and watch like it was a movie.
Yeah.
Just sitting there and I'll never forget one time I was running around doing something, listening to Chatterbox, and I stopped the car and got out. And everybody's like, whoa, can you get back in? I just want to finish. Can we finish the joke of whatever this interview Laszlo's doing? And then I remember when Vice City dropped the next year, there was another thing where we're all going to some, I don't know, kegger party or whatever, and like, or my friend's band was playing, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna come?" I'm like, "I don't know. This game Vice City comes out," and the other friend's like, "He's not coming. Like, there's no way. That's a GTA game. He's not coming."
That's so funny.
Yeah.
God, man, yeah, those games were so special. And then the hype for San Andreas too was like, was so real. But I think at that point it had been a little too long, and there'd been a little bit too much happening in that generation of games that I think the excitement died down a bit.
Yeah, there were so many clones at this point. People were already doing what it was. Yeah.
So it was a little different. The last game I want to talk about, in terms of being excited for, was Prince of Persia. Because the
original PS2 one, or not the original. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay.
Because the original Prince of Persia, really thinking back to it, it might have been the first game I ever played, ever.
Now you're talking about the original.
Yes. Yeah, the old.
I screwed this up by saying original Prince of Persia. No, Sands of Time, original
Prince of Persia on the whatever, it was on a computer. I don't even know what the hell computer it was. I need to really spend some time thinking sometime, like trying to like map out the timeline.
Sure.
But I think it was the first video game I ever played, and it was at Kevin's mom's house. She at a garage sale bought a bunch of computer stuff, and like I'll never forget, me and Kevin went back and played, and there was Ski Free, and there was like all these other stuff. But Prince of Persia was the first one.
Ski Free, fuck you, Ski Free.
Yeah,
fuck you. Oh, you're doing too good. Here comes an abominable snowman.
Yeah,
There's no way to dodge him.
Nah.
The fuck?
But the first one we grew up was Prince of Persia because it reminded me of Aladdin. And I was obviously enthralled with Aladdin at that time, and now. So we played it, and it was so hard. We didn't know the fuck we were doing. We never got past the first whatever the wizard bad guy thing.
I never played the original.
Oh, really?
Sands of Time was my first.
So I remember playing that, but being really, really, really involved in the world, even for the first 5 minutes of the game. Yeah. Because the first 5 minutes to us was hours because we just kept playing it over and over and dying. But there was just so much excitement in trying different things. It was like Grand Theft Auto of like, all right, if I jump, you can grab this ledge, but what can you jump to grab the other one? And it's like, who can jump farther? And like, we're making games out of the game. I think that's something very special about video games, especially when you're younger. But with Prince of Persia, it was very special to me because I made so much more out of that, not just from a gameplay element, but from a story. Like, to me, it was a sequel to Aladdin, and it was awesome. And there was all these things, and there was just backstory in my head. And flash forward, I want to say 20 years. It wasn't 20 years. It must have been like 15 years.
Yeah.
And I was reading EGM, and I saw, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe we're getting a Prince of Persia now. And that was probably the most excited I've ever been for a game that wasn't a Nintendo game or like something and whatever. But I was just like, this is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And every single thing I read about it, I'm like, this sounds awesome. The rewinding time sounds fun. These characters look cool. I like the designs. I like the colors they're using. Everything was fucking great. And then I played that game and I was like,
they delivered.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Like that was, and looking back on it, it has its flaws and it doesn't age well and it controls kind of clunky and the combat is pretty bad.
But you didn't know that then because there wasn't as much to compare to.
I mean, back then, it did hold its own in terms of
it was a critical darling too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever played a game where at that moment playing it, I thought it was as perfect as when I played Sands of Time because it lived up to the hype exactly when I wanted to be ahead, and it surprised me in so many different ways. Like the story of that game and the characters, it made me feel kind of what Uncharted makes me feel now, where I'm like, man, they really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like they really care about this. Like I felt that back then, which I think is even more impressive because, and a lot of games did it. And like, that's the thing. It's just, everyone has their different game they felt this way about. But for me, Sands of Time, I was like,
dude, yeah, I was talking about Sands of Time. Like that was one that I wasn't excited for leading up to it. And so, and it dropped right at the end of, or in the middle of another drought or whatever. I remember where there wasn't stuff. And I had been taking piano lessons. And I'm in college again. Like, so I thought this is cool. I'm doing this like adult thing, right? I'm like taking piano lessons because I want to, not because somebody's forcing me to. I was doing it to honor a friend or whatever. And I'm doing it and I like it all right, but I don't love it. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, and then Prince of Persia came out and I'd been doing piano lessons like 6 or 7 months. And then Prince of Persia came out and I read the EGM review about it. I was like, oh. And I went and got that and totally blew off my piano lessons and never went back because it was that thing of like, this is my passion. I'm trying to supplement my passion with this thing. And so then for the excitement thing, right, the next Prince of Persia one, I was so in love with that one. Yeah, I was like so on board for Warrior Within, so into it, like so ready for it. And then I got there, I was like, oh, this isn't the same. See, what's so funny about that, and the Prince of Persia could be a topic on its own, but I think that the Warrior Within, and again, I was
14 when Warrior Within came in, so it was a different mindset completely. And like looking back on it now, it's grim dark and this and that, and everyone's hating on it. Even at the time, critically, people had these issues with it. And what was it, Benjamin Fold, the music,
I remember music,
whoever,
alternative,
there was some artist that like made music for it, or Breaking Benjamin. Maybe
that sounds more right.
They did Halo 2. I don't know. Whatever. They made the music, and so there's a lot of issues with that. And it was totally different tone than 1. And 1, to me, the tone is perfect. 2, tone's very different, so whatever. But the story of it, I remember being like mind blown at some of the time travel stuff that they did, and like how you actually fucked all this up, and the death's chasing you. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And the combat was a bit better.
It wasn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the game was bad. I'm not at all. It was just like I thought there was something so. A good analog to it is like when we're talking about Uncharted, right? And Colin was like, somebody's gonna die in Uncharted 4, 3, and everything. I'm like, they're not gonna kill these people. Like that's not what this is. It's a pulp adventure. It's always gonna end this way. Finishing Sands of Time, I was like, oh, this is what this is. And then to get there and have it be the tone so changed. Now, and the opposite example of that is like Jack 2, which I loved. I liked Precursor to Legacy a lot. And then when they put out, that was another game where I was like, oh, awesome. Another Jack game. Great. Jack 2 came out and I was like, oh, I'm glad they changed this way and went open world and I have all these guns and I'm running around and Jack's talking and And I know a lot of people aren't. Everyone's not. No one's on board with that but Greg Miller. But
but I mean, that's one of those the interesting things because I just loved Prince of Persia and it was different, but I loved it despite its differences. My biggest concern with that game was that Farah wasn't in it.
Yep, that was the whole thing too. Yeah, very very much. I agree with you on that.
But then in terms of the game, I never beat that game because there was a game-breaking glitch in the final boss.
Really?
So final boss couldn't beat him because it just wouldn't let me. Like when you're about to do the final strike, the game would just freeze and do this like weird glitchy thing where you look like you're in a portal. And
that's
it's like, well, that sucks. But then I remember Two Thrones. After that, all the promotional material that was coming out for it, there was trailers and stuff, and Farah was back, and they're like, there was the chick that was in Warrior Within, and they're going to be together, and the story looked so cool. I'm like, man, they're tying Sands of Time and Warrior Within together to end the trilogy. It's going to be fucking awesome. And then somewhere along the line, it was kind of like the Halo 5 situation at E3 where they released a trailer of the poncho and that never happens in the game.
Right.
The game we got was totally different than those trailers.
Yeah.
Like absolutely none of that stuff made the game. And the third game, gameplay-wise, was better than 2. Story-wise was better than 2, and it was a bit more like 1 and whatever, but overall wasn't better than 2.
Sure.
So it was kind of weird. But anyways, I love those games. I want to replay those games now.
They did. When Sands of Time got put out on PS3 as a PSN game, I remember playing it for a little bit, but it was another thing where it was just not the right time, or I got pulled off onto something else.
I want to stream them one day. I don't know when.
One day.
No promises.
New studio.
We say new studio as if that's gonna like. It's the same thing when we quit IGN. We're like, we're gonna have so much free time.
I think we're gonna have more. I do think it will be.
Oh no, we'll see. We'll see.
I think it's just gonna be that thing of it might not. It was not gonna work out for everybody in the same way, but I think it'll be the thing of like, okay, cool. Like we have to do Gamescast, right? I packed a lunch. I'm gonna eat this. Kevin, before you go, set this up. So like when you guys are still at lunch, I can go over there and I can video or stream or whatever. I can make a let's play on my own of whatever the fuck I want to play.
We'll see. If
we have all the stupid stations set up the way they should be.
Topic 3.
3D
and 4 are both brought to you by you. Go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic and leave a question. Just like my boy, Pablo Lopez did, a.k.a. Little Casper.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, shout out to Casper, though. That movie. When did Casper come out in your life?
I didn't see it. That's how much I had missed it. That's how much. I mean, I've seen plenty. I've been on TV since then. I've seen the Ghostbusters bit and everything. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like, I was too old for Casper by the time Casper hit theaters.
Oh my God, Casper was fucking up. Fatso and Stinky.
Yeah, there was something on it.
Oh my Lord. Christina Ricci.
Yeah. Because you were a kid. Yeah, you were her age.
No, I was not her age. I was way younger than her. What is the best video game trilogy? I personally believe it's the Arkham trilogy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like, so what are the best 3 video games?
It gets difficult.
Yeah.
Because gut answer, and I feel like there's not even a goddamn question. Super Mario Brothers.
But that's the thing, if they keep going.
But that's the problem. Super Mario Brothers, there was only 3. There's never been Super Mario Bros. 4. Unless you're in Japan, world was called Super Mario Bros. 4, whatever. But then the problem there, though, is Super Mario Bros. 2 USA versus Japan. Because I mean, I'd still give it, even if you're talking about the Japanese Mario 1, 2, and 3.
That's that's a really good pick. Yeah, that's just the problem though. Is I feel like
trilogy.
We're so bad at saying, all right, we're making a trilogy and stopping. And like the Arkham trilogy, yeah, is great. Again, we're just ignoring Origins, which I hate doing. Origins is a great game, I think. And then it's like, of course, I love the Uncharted trilogy. And then there's an amazing fourth game. Does that what does that mean? How does that play into it?
I mean, just because we were just talking about it, I love the Prince of Persia trilogy, which is a trilogy.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't put that up there as best. I think it deserves a consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I feel like it's such a weird, wishy-washy. Where do you cut it off, right? Like that doesn't count either. I mean, say best series.
Is there any video game trilogy?
Resistance, but again, here I'm cheating. Resistance 1, 2, and 3, and Retribution, and Burning Skies, right? Yeah.
I mean, there's Jack 1, 2, and 3,
and then
there's Daxter.
Yeah, and there's Racing, and then there's a
New
Frontier.
Spin-offs.
Jack and Daxter, New Frontier.
Spin-off.
Is it? I mean, it's Jack and Daxter. It doesn't have a number. Is that what we're saying? They have to have a number straight on them? That's the problem. Because there's a lot of great game series that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of Madden 01 through 03.
There you go.
Shit,
Madden 03 soundtrack was so good. And 04.
Yeah.
Michael Vick on the cover.
I'll never forget when they put Lucky Boys Confusion in there. I was like, fuck. Lucky Boys Confusion has made it. They're in a Madden game.
Yeah, I think you're stumping us here.
It's not that we're stumped. It's just like
it's more about the trilogy part.
What do we define as a trilogy, and how do you cut that off, and where does that move when you do have a million spinoffs and you do have a whole bunch of different things? I think looking at the wall for.
I think when games are designed, like God of War, Gears of War, then there's the other ones though.
Exactly.
But it's like, it still doesn't make it not a trilogy though. Star Wars is still. It's 3 trilogies.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like it's part of a whole as well.
Yeah.
But like they're clear arcs. So I think that helps a lot. But video games are different. They don't really do it that way.
Yeah. It's tough, and I mean, like, you want to know.
I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna see what other people are talking about.
I'll nominate one that isn't even a trilogy yet, but I think you can make a case for The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead season 1, 2, and 3. If they stop there, that would be worthwhile. Because 1 to 2 is what we're talking about, right? And the fact that it's still the same narrative thread. I'm still, you know what I mean? Like in terms of Prince of Persia 1 to 2, where's Farah? You know what I mean? Like I want to know about her. Here it's still very much like we've gone from Lee to Clem, and now we're Clem but she's still dealing with everything we dealt with in the first game, and it's such a personal journey. That's where you lose. Like, you know, Jack 1, 2, and 3. I like Jack 2. A lot of people don't. I didn't like Jack 3, weirdly enough. You know, it's like that weird, like, how do you do all that? The Arkham games, are great and do a lot of amazing things, but like the tank controls sucked in Arkham Knight. And again, we're ignoring Origins. Uncharted, I would say it would be the best if we can count that, since there's a fourth one. I don't know.
Yeah.
No one will be able to touch the Mario gameplay.
Exactly.
So I guess Mario is the winner.
Totally unrelated. My brother just text me this picture.
SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain.
The greatest hits version that he just found. What the fuck? Okay, I'm trying to load this. There is the 16 best video game trilogies from whatculture.com.
Oh, I love whatculture.com.
Do you actually love them?
I don't know much about them.
They make lists.
Good
quality varies.
Do they paginate them or whatever though?
Oh,
or you have to click through? Oh,
yeah. But I mean, we'll see. Oh God, Airheads, Bites, ads. Come on. All right.
SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain was a really good game.
They do paginate them.
I do believe that was the SmackDown that I dropped out of wrestling, and maybe it was SmackDown versus Raw, the first one they did. I dropped out of wrestling in college, but then when I moved off campus and I was working at the Tribune, my girlfriend at the time and I would be over all the time, and I wanted to play games. So what we would do is we had the big TV. She'd be watching something on TV, and then I had a little CRT next to it that I put the PS2, and I would just simulate SmackDown cards and like build the thing, because that was like when they put the not season mode, general manager mode in or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you get me some trilogies?
Yeah. I also, my brother then followed up with a text that is him trying to do Brock Lesnar's theme song in the word done. Dun, 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 dun.
That's good. Your brother's the man.
All right, Splinter Cell trilogy.
There's so many Splinter Cells.
Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, yes.
So Sonic 1, 2, 3.
Here's the problem. Yeah, because CD is a clear
adventure, all their own thing. Yeah.
Well, adventure. CD is a bit more. It's the same gameplay, but the thing is, it's a different system. Whatever. There is a clear Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy that there's a through line for narrative and story or whatever through 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
The problem is you add Knuckles to that, but Knuckles only happened because they didn't have enough time to finish 3, so they turned it into 2 games, and you can put them together. So if you think of the Sonic trilogy of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
You're gonna give it to that. You're gonna cheat.
I'm not gonna give that.
Cheat that one.
That's the thing is, I don't think I can give that best gaming trilogy.
Yeah.
Like it's good.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it best.
The way you talk about Sonic makes me want to go back and replay them.
I don't know. I love Sonic though.
I know. I loved Sonic back in the day.
I replayed 1 recently, like last year on the 3DS.
Yeah.
And 1 I will never stand up for saying that it's great.
Amazing, yeah.
It definitely has faults, but 2 and 3, man, they're good. God of War. I mean,
Ascension was still part of it. Not to mention Ghosts of Sparta, Chains of Olympus.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying I know they aren't numbered, but are we really going to ignore those entries? You know what I mean? Like, what is a solid 3-act video game trilogy?
I mean, so here's the thing: you think about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then there's Star Wars Rogue One. We obviously don't count those as the same things, right?
Yeah. But
But with this, though, it's still Kratos. It's still his story.
Sure. But I still feel like when you talk about the Star Wars trilogy, you're talking about the original Star Wars films. And when you say Star Wars prequels, you're talking about the prequels.
But the prequel trilogy.
I know, but I don't think anybody says that.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, if you're a fucking nerd on the internet, OT and PT are how you refer to them. So.
Okay.
Crash Bandicoot. That's a trilogy.
Yeah, there was Crash Team Racing, but I agree.
No,
I'm not going to count. I'm not going to count. I'm just saying. I'm saying.
That's and Crash Bat. No, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know what Crash Bat is. I don't remember.
Crash Bash.
Oh, Bash. Okay,
Yeah.
I said Bat. I was like, did he have a home run derby
game? I didn't
game?
finish saying Bash. Yeah, it's the Mario Party.
Gotcha.
No, not made by Naughty Dog though. Naughty Dog only made 1, 2, 3 and Crash Team Racing. But I mean, that is a trilogy.
Yeah.
But there's not much narrative thread. I don't know if you need that though.
Yeah.
I'll give you it. Crash is a trilogy. The best of all time.
Apparently.
By default.
According to whatculture.com.
Gears of War.
Yeah. They have 4 now though.
Devil May Cry.
That's like Gears of War directly flies in its faces. There's a 4th one.
Devil May Cry. There's a 4th and a reboot.
Weird Ray Gutierrez reboot.
Holy shit. That's awesome. I'm sure that's an old joke.
That's an old,
man.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
As they release 7.
Yeah, but I'll give it to them that Resident Evil has a trilogy to it. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. What about 0? What about Code Veronica?
It's still a trilogy.
It's still a trilogy to me, damn it.
I feel like I'll give them that.
Okay.
Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 deserve it. Because 4 is so different. Code Veronica is a spin-off, but yeah.
That was my first Resident Evil game.
Code Veronica?
Yeah,
was
PS2.
Many people's. Yeah.
I'll never forget when my friend from the halls, Beebs, was in there watching me play. This is before Bieber. I forget. I think it was last name had something to do with that. I don't even remember. I couldn't even probably find. This is one of those people you'd have no way of finding in the world right now.
Yeah.
I would. How do you track this kid down based on his nickname? He was sitting there eating popcorn. I think he was high while I was playing Code Veronica. And right as like what Nemesis, right? Wasn't that the dude? As he like burst out for the first time and chased me, he just goes, "This dude is about to fuck your universe up." And I was like, "Damn."
See this popcorn.
Yeah.
Oh man, what culture? Stunning Asian babes are looking for older men.
That's a trilogy?
Yeah, that's the best trilogy of all time. Can they see it?
Yeah, they can see it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, Resident Evil. All right, I'll give it to you, Resident Evil.
All right, Resident Evil.
Jack and Daxter, I mean, I feel like Jack and Daxter does deserve it. You know what?
What?
And I'm going to stand by this one.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
What?
Grand Theft Auto 3 is a trilogy. That's my vote.
So you're saying Grand Theft
GTA
Auto 3,
3,
Vice City, San Andreas.
Best video game trilogy of all time.
If you count that, then yes, I'd agree with you.
I think that should count.
But they don't even, like, it wasn't GTA 3 Vice City, GTA 3 San Andreas.
It was, though.
I know it was. I'm well aware.
I think that's why. That's why it counts. Because it doesn't need to be narrative. Gameplay and what that is.
Sure.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Okay.
And that thing is a trilogy. Silent Hill, not giving it to you.
You're not giving Silent Hill.
Metal Gear Solid, not even close.
Ignoring 4, 5, Peace Walker. Literally, and that's totally a narrative that is fucked up and continuing all the time.
Arkham, which they say, referring to the Arkham games series as a trilogy, is a strange one, as plenty of fans are willing to completely dismiss Origins, despite it having some spectacular moments. All right. Uncharted. Halo.
There's a Halo 4.
And a 5.
Nah, that's not true. That'd be too many. They would have stopped by then.
See, that's the problem, is the Halo trilogy was a trilogy. Like, it definitely was.
This topic. It's like just how stupid video games are.
That's so stupid. They're just different. Like,
no, I know.
Such a movie thing, and even then, like, it's broken. But with Halo, I would argue, this is now the topic, is what the fuck is a video game trilogy?
WTF is a video game trilogy.
Yeah.
It's a great one, yeah.
But I think that Halo 1, 2, and 3 get it because of the narrative that it builds.
Yeah.
Because 4, it goes in a different direction.
So you're saying a trilogy for video games can apply to either the narrative or the gameplay mechanics?
Yes. I feel like there has to be a thread that holds between it, whatever that thread is.
So gameplay can be the thread?
Yes. Yeah.
So then.
Okay.
What I'd like to know, and granted it's on my mind because it's Let's Play today, is Deus Ex Go, Lara Croft Go, the other Go game I can't remember, are they all, or Hitman Go, is that a trilogy? Because the gameplay narrative thread, or the gameplay thread is there. Narrative isn't sure, but they're all building on the same idea of what's happening.
Here's the thing.
I'll rest my case.
Here's the thing with that. I like where your head's at, and I would say
now that it's what the fuck is a video game trilogy?
Trilogy might not be the right terminology for that.
Like, series, brand.
Yes. The Go brand is the brand there.
Yeah.
The rest is just the IP on top of it.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's that. But I don't think that you can call them a trilogy because they're not. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I would not call them a trilogy in any world. But I'm just poking a hole in your argument here.
Well, because I'm thinking the things that I'm arguing for are Resident Evil, GTA 3.
If we can say GTA 3, then I would vote GTA 3.
Yeah.
All right.
We can.
There, the motion carries.
That's what I'm saying. So GTA 3 and then Halo. I would say it's a Halo trilogy. Halo mainly for the gameplay as well. Gameplay and story elements.
Oh, story elements, sure.
But because that's the thing is that 1, 2, and 3 built into each other. Like 3 it's a direct sequel to 2. 4, yeah, it is a sequel in the sense that it's Master Chief, but it happens in a different timeline. It's not continuing the same story. There's different threats. There's different.
Is it a different timeline?
Well, same timeline.
Okay. Just making sure. I'm not. Okay, thank you.
But like 1, 2, and 3 are a story. It's Cortana and Chief going through all this stuff. 4 is more of like a story about Cortana and Chief, but it's like it's a separate story. So that's my thing. Like God of War is 1, 2, and 3. Is there a narrative thread between those that is different from Ascension?
Well, I mean, Ascension, I would have had to play the single player to tell you, and nobody touched single player on Ascension, right? That was like Kratos' prequel, but then it's like Ghost of Sparta and all that stuff.
That's the thing, yeah. It's a prequel then.
I would say God of War 1, 2, and 3 are the same narrative, right? Because it's him going against the Greek gods.
Yeah.
And,
so I'll give it to them.
Okay.
God of War is a trilogy.
Okay.
There's the God of War trilogy. The Go games, not a trilogy.
Okay.
Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, trilogy.
Okay.
Because there's gameplay elements, the gameplay idea of it, and the story, although not necessarily the same characters, builds on the lore of the same thing intentionally.
Okay.
Whereas the Resident Evil 4 and all that stuff move things, change things.
Oh, it moved a lot of things.
What else am I arguing for?
I don't know. I think we've covered it.
We're not done with this list.
Oh, we're still going the rest of the trilogy?
I want to know.
Okay. Well, how many more do we have to go?
The Ezio trilogy.
Oh, my God.
I'll give it to him.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense. It qualifies it in the same way the Grand Theft Auto 3 trilogy.
So that's Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, or was it Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood?
No, Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood,
Assassin's Creed
and
Brotherhood
Revelations.
And Revelations.
Also known as the Ezio trilogy.
Okay.
Is the best the series will ever be.
No, yeah, probably. You're right. Assassin's Creed 2 is amazing, but that England one wasn't bad. It just got a bad rap. Nobody played it because they were sick of it. The most recent one.
Oh. Unity?
No, Unity was the one everybody hated. Then there was Assassin's Creed England. England. I'll look into it.
What is it? Assassin's Creed. It's not Unity. What happened after Unity?
Unity and Rogue came out at the same time. It was Assassin's Creed Oi Governor. You remember? You don't remember this, but there was a time, ladies and gentlemen, when you didn't have the knowledge of the world at your fingertips, and you'd sit at a restaurant, and this ghost going to come up and like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Joe Pesci was in Super Mario Bros. He's like, was he? Can't prove you wrong. I don't remember that.
Mass Effect.
Assassin's Creed.
Mass Effect's a trilogy.
That's a great point, actually. Yeah. Okay. A lot of people have been screaming at their computers and phones at home right now. That's a great point. That might be the best true trilogy we've had.
Number 1, ladies and gentlemen.
God damn it.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
3D universe. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
Assassins.
Yeah, no, they're talking about what I'm talking about. GTA 3, Vice City.
I knew that. I just thought it was funny they put 3D universe in there. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is what we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Syndicate is what we're looking for.
Syndicate. That was a thing. Okay. I love this show, Greg. Earlier today, I was telling you I don't like this show. I was lying.
He didn't say that.
I meant that, but now I take it back.
You were just tired today. Now you're happy.
It's not I'm tired. You're
worn out.
It's a hard show.
We've been working you hard. We've been working you too hard. I've been working them hard on this table.
Yeah. But I will tell you this much. I did not expect to do a whole topic about the first question.
That's how we do it here. This how we do it.
Man.
This is how we do it. It's the kind of funny Gamecast, Tim and Greg.
Topic for the day, also brought to you by you. Go to kindoffunny.com/Gamescast topic.
Have we said Steven Insler yet?
We haven't.
Patreon producer.
Shout out to Steven Insler. Bow, 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 bow. This comes
Thanks for supporting us at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can go there and support us too and get your name right on the show as well.
Matthew Santamaria. He says, if the NX was never coming out, what would a Nintendo console you designed look like? Form, games, power, whatever.
I would tell Nintendo stop.
Really?
Hey guys, let's put our shit on other consoles. Like, let's just make a lot of money. Let's just fucking roll in money. Do we need another machine? No.
Yeah.
Can we make one that's successful? Because like now I'm juiced for the NX, what we think it is, the portable go everywhere system. Okay, cool, I'm in. Put a fucking battery in it that matters, please. But other than that, I think that sounds great. And so now that I think that sounds great, that's what I'd think about.
Yeah.
I've never ever since I shouldn't say never, but since everything's happened now and Nintendo's gone off on their own, Colin's always like, I hope they come back and they fight the big guys and they make a big thing and they appeal to their parties. And I'm like, no, I don't want them to do that because Xbox and PlayStation have that covered. I'm not going to be excited to. We've lived this universe before where it's like, all right, cool. Nintendo's coming in. They're making it on par with the other systems, but they have this weird controller. So now you can play. What's a good third-party game coming up? That's not. I'm thinking Gears. I'm thinking Horizon. Give me a third-party game that we care about. Kind of. The next Splinter Cell's coming. The next Mass Effect's coming, and it has this kind of thing that you can only do on the Nintendo. I don't care. That's not gonna, you know what I mean? That's not what's going to get me to go play it. Yeah. So why does it matter? I know we make Colin makes the argument that I do think matters in the fact that the Wii U sales, the Wii U success proves that there's not just enough Nintendo fans. Nintendo's doing something different fans. I'm going to go support them. We don't need third parties. But it wouldn't be but for some of these third-party games, there is an argument to be made that, let's say I wanted to play Madden this next year, right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, all right, cool, there's going to be the Wii or the NX version that, I can play on the go and I can take my season on the road and it's going to look worse than my PlayStation 4 copy. But would that really stop me? Like, I'm not a competitive, like, hey, let's get... I am a competitive local guy, and I never get all the trophies in Madden. So it's all of a sudden like, do I care about any of that? If I could be playing it on a plane, not with you because you wouldn't play it, but somebody else I'm playing on a plane, or I'm just taking the Chicago Bears through season after season after season while I watch something on Virgin America. That sounds really appealing. That's what I always wanted out of the Vita version. I wanted there to be a Vita version that communicated with the PS3 version at the time, 4 version now, where my save comes with me and I go and I play, and then Vita just sucked and nobody cared and nobody wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Those are the little things, but yeah.
as the Nintendo guy of us, I also agree that I wish that Nintendo would just make games for the other consoles, because then they could just focus on making games. And that's the stuff that I care about the most at the end of the day of 100%, all of Nintendo. 100%.
And that's what they do best.
Yeah. They have the characters, they have the games, they have so many genres covered. So many in unique different ways that the other guys don't do. Yeah. No one else does. So it's like, cool. Just do that for them, profit, that'll be great. Having said that, I do think that this direction they're taking, or potentially taking, with the handheld thing is very interesting and smart. And again, I've said this a couple weeks ago, I didn't see this coming, really. Like I hoped,
but yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that it would have been a handheld hybrid. I always thought of it as a console hybrid, where it was backwards, where I didn't want it to be, it's a console that you can kind of take with you. The idea of it being a handheld that you can also play on the screen, I think is the right way to think about it, because then it's handheld first, which is what Nintendo has always done right. Always.
Yeah, since Game Boy.
And Virtual Boy doesn't count because Virtual Boy is not a portable system.
No, like, you can carry it around. You
can carry around the GameCube because it had a handle. Doesn't make it a portable system. But yeah, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS, all of them have great libraries of games.
Right.
And
vast, some would say.
It's a vast library. And the idea of Nintendo being out of the handheld space is concerning to me, because if they're not doing it, nobody's doing it right.
Yeah, no.
And I think that this keeps that going, so it's not all just mobile games. Not to hate on mobile games. I think that had Nintendo backed out completely of hardware and made mobile games, like real mobile games, and PS4 and Xbox One games, my God, that would be amazing. But I think that they're kind of potentially nailing what I believe they should be doing in order to succeed. Because the doing something different, I think, is going to help them.
Yeah.
I think that the thing that they did differently was the wrong thing with the Wii U.
Sure, I agree with that.
And the Wii as well, but that's only an argument from a critical standpoint, not from a success standpoint.
Well, I think you can make the argument critically, and then I think you could also make it just looking at the fan base too. You know what I mean? Like the numbers are all skewed and it's different things, but like people always, I almost brought it up in excitement. Like I was wigging out for the Wii. When the Wii came around, the Wii set everything right for me, where it was like PS3 and 360 had come out, right? Or were about to come out when the Wii gets announced.
PS3 and Wii came out. At
the same day. And 360 was already out. I apologize. In both 360 and PS3, disqualified themselves from me because I didn't have Ethernet in the house and I didn't have an HD TV, and they wanted so much money, and I was poor and just out of college. I was like, no way. And then Nintendo came along. We're making this system. It's got this cool controller. We're gonna let you play all the old games, download them. And I was like, oh, like that's fascinating. That's really interesting. That speaks to me right now. And if they would have stuck with that and still been like, we are this machine for gamers, and we're going to give you the toys you expect from Nintendo and all these classic things and da-da-da, it would have been a different story. But then the market exploded, right? And it was suddenly casual, quote-unquote, gamers. And when I say casual, I mean my mom. I mean the grandmothers at the nursing home and stuff like that. And I'm not.
I mean, it changed what casual gamers meant.
Exactly. And so when they got on board, that's when it was. Everybody's got the money symbols in their eyes, and Ubisoft was like, here's a million
rabid games. Yeah. And that was the problem, is we never got the promise of the Wii, really, in terms of its the mechanics of what the Wiimote could have done.
You never got that lightsaber game.
We never got the lightsaber game. Yeah. And then the Wii U is an even bigger culprit in that it didn't have the success that the Wii did financially and with the new form of casual gamers, but it also never proved the tablet, even to its dying days, is still not doing it. Yeah. The fact that we're getting Star Fox and it's trash, and that was the game that was supposed to use the tablet. It's like, it's just so infuriating. And this is the big hope for me, is that Nintendo doesn't do this again, where you need to have a cool idea to use the different tech before you just make the different tech and be like, oh, we'll figure it out later. Yeah. Because you're not going to have the time to figure it out later. And if you don't have it figured out, guess what? The other people aren't going to understand. At all.
Players won't understand it or want it, and developers won't want to make for it.
Yeah. So like the argument about the there's not enough Nintendo fans to support it or whatever, it's like the proof is in the pudding in terms of like that is obviously happening now with the Wii U.
But the one thing about it is, to the defense of the Nintendo and this argument that Nintendo fans weren't there to support it, there clearly aren't enough. I think even Nintendo, this is the console where Nintendo fans even were like, I don't know, guys, this isn't doing what I want you to do. Yeah. And so if the NX comes out and it's like, hey, it's a Nintendo handheld TV thing, whatever, and it's mainly going to be supported by us, and we're giving you Metroid, Zelda, Mario Kart, and then you go down that list, and everybody's like, okay, cool. Like now we get it. And if you're committed to gamers, we'll be committed to you. That's the big thing.
Yeah. No, I mean that's really it. And so in terms of what would I do, I would make sure that it's a handheld system that is powerful enough that it's not a joke.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it puts in a place of like, I can't believe that we're now talking about this as if it's a good idea, because it's like that's like talking about the Vita 2. Like, is that a good idea? No, it's not a good idea. Why is it a good idea for Nintendo?
Because they're Nintendo.
I don't know, but they're Nintendo.
That's the whole thing. Is
that's
like
enough.
When you talk about it being the Vita 2, like don't get me wrong, I see that, and I wish the Vita 2 would be this or whatever. But really, what the fact of the matter is, it wouldn't be, because it's not going to be bringing the PlayStation 4 and the Vita together. This is Nintendo. Hopefully, if they market it right, being like, cool guys, this is the unit, this is the machine, this is what we play, this is the Nintendo. Yeah, and I hope that'd be awesome if they called it that.
That'd be so fucking
This
cool.
is the Nintendo, and this is what you're making for,
cry.
and this is what we do.
I would literally cry if I'm in that room and they're like, it's called the Nintendo.
Yeah. Let's introduce you to the all-new Nintendo. Exactly.
But yeah, it's like if they give me that lineup of games and like show me a future that I'm looking down the barrel at and I'm like, oh my God.
And I mean, like, think about, like, I mean, just it'd be so easy to be like, this is the all new Nintendo, right? And they're like, all right, cool. Everything on the eShop is available to play here. Every DS game, everything let's say you missed the DX game, you can play it here. I don't know if it's possible to bring Wii games over, but similar things. We're re-releasing Mario Kart 8, and we're releasing Smash, and we're doing all these things.
Man, see that to me is where we're gonna get into some issues here, because the overhyping. Like, it's so funny because I read NeoGAF every night, and especially recently, there's been a lot of NX threads popping up of different things, and a lot of people are talking about how a lot of people are positive about the NX, or a lot of people are being negative about the NX, or this and that. And people have opinions. It's what the internet's for.
Yeah.
But I think the difference here is that we're getting dangerously close. Like, we were getting dangerously close to we're already there, where no matter what the NX is, it's not going to be this magical fucking thing that changes your life. But it's like, I feel like with what's leaking now, it's setting it at a more realistic thing of like, what we're talking about is not revolutionary. Like, it's not the Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bible did change things.
This sounds possible. And I think that's the most important part, is that it sounds possible for Nintendo to do this and succeed doing it. This can excite people, this can get people on board, and it can be good in all those ways.
But we are doing the thing where we're No Man's Skying it to an extent, right? Where we're sitting here, I'm saying what, and they say every eShop game works.
That's what the point that I'm building to here is. It's like all this stuff about it being a portable thing, and they're only using the Nintendo and whatever. All that's possible. A couple weeks ago, talking about, there might be a trophy system. There might be, or you talking about all the virtual console games being available. That's where we're going to get disappointed.
Yeah.
To me, all that stuff is optional. Is not the right word, because I don't think it's optional. I think it is a failure on their part to not have those things. Having said that, I do not think that they go without saying, and I think that having them is just going to make me go, yes.
Yeah.
Not having them is just gonna make me go, God damn it, Nintendo.
Right.
But it's that is where the No Man's Sky hype comes into it.
Yeah.
It's like it scares me, because what would I do with the system? Come up with a Netflix style subscription where you can play all the fucking Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Trophy systems, all this stuff's in there. Go for it. Here's a release schedule for the next year of the games you're playing. Here's some ideas of titles that are going to be coming next year. Thank you. Here's all the NX games that we're going to port over, and the Wii U games.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant. The Wii U games we're porting over to NX. And like how they're going to work, what enhancements they're going to have, all this shit. Yes. Thank you. Please, just do that. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Moving on.
And also, here's Mario Golf.
And Mario Golf. At some point.
And we're going to finally release the Dry Bones Amiibo. It comes with every NX.
But dude, see, that's the thing. Mario Golf would not be an afterthought,
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, do we do it on Wii U or 3DS?
Totally.
And we're just doing it for this one system. We're also getting the Metroid game here. Pokemon is no longer we're waiting for a console Pokemon. Guess what? This is the console Pokemon.
Yeah.
This is what we've always wanted.
Yep. It could be revolutionary for Nintendo. It could be amazing.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
Me too. If One Track Gamers wants to know, if you were given a chance to make a video game documentary, what would it be about?
That's a great question. Shit. Immediately, I think of Kojima here with his rise and fall at Konami, and then getting out on his own. That'd be great. Just the Kojima story. But if you could get Konami to talk about what happened, find out what's happening there, then you go to. I'm just the headlines we always talk about, the Naughty Dog stuff with Amy and Neil and Bruce and all that stuff. What really happened? Everyone on the record. This is what happened. What was Amy's Uncharted going to be? How much time did they? What did they scrap? How did they keep it? Talk to the actors who have left, like that Alan Tudyk guy, right? Isn't he talked about leaving and how they had to go, and Todd Stashwick and all this stuff. Find out everything that's happened there. What do you got?
I don't know. I feel like that's obviously
exactly,
great, but I feel like you need to tie it to something that is relevant. On a broader scale, and I can tell that personal story.
Sure.
So that's why I think Kojima makes a lot of sense. I think that obviously Miyamoto in a bunch of different regards makes a lot of sense. I think the Uncharted thing needs a different angle.
That's like a 30 for 30. That's like a very. That's not like we need to make a documentary movie.
Documentary, like I mean, Console Wars would make a sick ass documentary.
Well, they're supposed to be doing that, right? Isn't that the thing they've been working on?
Yeah, but I also think there's a lot of. You can pick so many different points in Mario games that I think would be really interesting, but I would love to see a documentary about the console wars, the next generation. So PlayStation 1 versus Sega Saturn versus N64.
Yeah.
I think there's a really interesting story there, and I'd love to see footage of Mario 64 at E3.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that, where it's like, how did people react to seeing this for the first time? We all have all our memories, but like that's such a weird forgotten time where people didn't have access to cameras on their phones everywhere they went.
Yeah.
And E3 wasn't live streamed and like all that stuff. So I think that
E3 in general, if you, I mean, like it would be easier if and this sounds horrible, but if E3 ended to then do a documentary about it. But yeah, I mean, like E3 used to be in Atlanta and all this crazy weird shit in Vegas and all these things. And like, it was like, the afterthought of CES and all these different, it's like, I'd love to see how that progressed to where it is now.
E3, that's it. My money's on that. That's a really good call because there's interesting stories there, and there's so many moments that you can use as the kind of like touchstones to build everything. Man, there you go.
Open on the what was it? The shit. Was it Gamecock? What was the stupid publisher? I think it was Gamecock, right? That did the funeral for E3 at the Santa Monica E3. Like a bunch of assholes. All right,
damn.
Start there and then have it be like dial it back to that point and then show it come back and to where it is now.
That's awesome. Jared 007 says, with Crash Remastered, can Sony do it to Spyro as well? Or no, because Activision already messed up Spyro? I don't think that, I mean, I'm not going to get into did they not mess up Spyro. I don't think that this affects the likelihood or quality of Spyro 1 through 3. A trilogy being remastered or not. I think that if the Crash one does well, I think it's almost for sure we'll see a Spyro.
The thing about it, like the Crash one is like, man, people talk and ask for that Crash one. I never hear people asking for the Spyro one.
But they will once they place Crash. If they,
I don't think they will in that number. But I'm with you. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
All I'm saying is you're right. Everyone's talking about Crash. Everyone's only talking about Crash because people are talking about Crash. And I think that now that Crash is announced, you will not see a single video about Crash without some comments being like, when's Spyro coming?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's you give the mouse a cookie, they're gonna want more, and so it's gonna go from there. I do think that there's a chance. I love Spyro, the games, the 1 through 3. I'd never beat Year of the Dragon. That got a little
the Cisco game.
That kind of Sonic adventured it for me, where it's like you're giving Spyro a bunch of friends that I don't want to deal with right now. Let's stop. But Spyro 1 and 2 definitely have very fond memories playing those games. But I wonder how they hold up because they were a bit more open.
I'm a fucking idiot.
Uh-oh.
Because I was just about to say, instead of if the Crash Remastered does well, please don't go into the comments and say, can I please have a Spyro Remastered collection? Ask for a Patapon Remastered collection, which was a trilogy. A true trilogy with no spin-offs that got better and better as it went gameplay-wise.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's the greatest trilogy of all time. I'm not crazy. Don't get me wrong.
I get it.
I'm just saying,
but
like, I should have.
You're a trilogy.
So all the comments on that breakout video are gonna be like, "Oh, Greg didn't say Patapon."
Yeah.
Fuck you, man.
Fuck you, man. Don't know how to live my life. Curtis Zinger, aka KG Zing, on Twitter, says, "I'd love to hear you predict a future where PSVR commercially bombs.
Okay.
What's the impact on the PS4/Neo/Sony?
Neo, who the hell knows? I mean, I think Neo will be fine regardless if it's framed around 4K and better performance. I mean, Neo is such an easy sell.
Mm-hmm.
Your games will load 20% faster. They will download a little bit faster. It's $50 more. Okay, great. None of this. Colin's not here to be like, it's a middle finger to gamers. Everybody can stop being babies about everything. If you just bought your PS4, that was a weird thing to do when you heard about the rumors of Neo. And also, do you care that it's 20% faster? Do you even know the difference? You waited this long to buy a PS4. PlayStation VR could be a huge, huge fucking problem for PlayStation. Will it? I don't know. I hope not. I do believe in VR in terms of this and what they're doing, the way they're talking about it. I think the people who have bought the pre-orders for PlayStation VR, you guys out there, because I know you all talk about it to us all the time, I think we're all on the right page. This is a very No Man's Sky thing again of like, our expectations are we're going to get a bunch of weird-ass experiences, and maybe in a year and a half, we're getting closer to a game. Because the whole thing that's going to happen is you're going to get this, you're going to play around, you're going to tinker with a whole bunch of different experiences, and you'll all be done with them in 15, 30 minutes, an hour, or something like that, and you'll put it down, and then a friend will come over, and they'll put it on, they'll get excited, and this will happen, da-da-da. But all of these things, if you're buying PlayStation VR, you are tip of the sword, and you are wave one of the beta testers of VR, where every developer has to start taking. We all have to learn how to play games again. We all have to figure out how not to get motion sick, what works, what doesn't, what a control scheme should feel like, what it shouldn't feel like, and that feedback is getting translated to developers who are then hopefully working on the next things. A prediction of how this looks: it's PlayStation Move. It comes out, the games are underwhelming. We all bought a bunch of them in the beginning, sure, and then nobody buys anymore, and developers run from it and don't want to develop for it. And I think the fact that you have 3 incredibly viable options right now for VR mean that developers are going to do it, but it is going to be that whole thing of like, the game I'm most concerned about being a huge bomb is Resident Evil 7. The fact that everybody's gotten sick playing it, the fact that you can play it without the VR, these are red flags for me. And the fact that everyone you talk to about VR, it needs to be built from the ground up for VR. You can't tack it into another game. Yep. You can't do something with it. The fact that people are getting motion sick tells me that's probably a big problem for it. And the fact that I think everyone's going to get it and be like, yeah, a real game for VR, and put it on and be like, oh, this is not, I can't do this. This isn't what I think it might be cart before the horse. And the fact that like, hey, let's put out a real game, but we don't know the rules yet. We have to go and learn so much about PlayStation or VR in general. So the prediction, would be is a PlayStation Move thing. It would bring profits down, but again, PlayStation as a brand just accounted for 76% of the profits for this quarter or whatever for Sony overall. So that number comes down, sure, but they're still making hand over fist money on the PlayStation 4.
I'm in the same boat where I think that it's going to fail overall in terms of it not being a huge success. And I think that is the marker for how this does. Yeah. But I think that it's not going to affect them too much. I think they know that.
And that's
I think the success would be a surprise to them, right?
And that's the big thing with me, where I know I keep banging this drum and saying the same thing, but Shuhei talks about it being Gen 1 PlayStation. They know they have a lot to learn. I feel like the fact that it is sold out, you can't get pre-orders anymore, isn't because millions came out to pre-order. It's because they put out a limited amount of these because they're setting their expectations where they need to be. And gamers just need to do the exact same thing.
And I think that's smart. I mean, obviously it's an investment. They're putting a lot of money into this and trying to see where it goes and what it can be. And I talk about this all the time with Nintendo, but Nintendo with the Wii U and the Wii and all this stuff, all that innovation is a gimmick that succeeds. That's it. Yeah. And if it doesn't succeed, it's a gimmick. The Wii U could have been one of the biggest innovations ever, but it wasn't. The Wii could have been, but it kind of wasn't. I mean, no, I know what I mean. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we look back at it and we call it a gimmick. We don't call it
waggle.
Yeah. So it's had they figured it out, had they found that game that 1 year down the line we're gonna get a lightsaber game or whatever. Yeah. Then it would have been the greatest innovation of all time. I think VR is the same thing, and specifically PSVR is it is a gimmick. You need to go into it thinking it's a gimmick, and if it happens to succeed, then it's an innovation, and then it's going to be super awesome and great. But until then, whatever, it's going to be very similar to Kinect, where it was out, they pushed it, and now the Xbox One S is out and it doesn't have a thing for
a big thing. And a callback to our topic one, right, is I play Abzu. Am I saying it right? Abzu. I keep feeling like I'm so bad at pronunciation that I feel like that's not right. I'm playing it. I'm not enraptured with it. I'm checking my phone. I'm talking to Portillo. I'm doing all these different things. I still feel that for me as a personal, when I get my VR unit, PlayStation VR unit, I'm going to use theater mode a lot. And I really think that is going to change the way I play games in the way of, oh, Abzu's 2.5 hours. Sure. Boom. Headphones. And suddenly I'm playing on a movie theater, this brilliant, beautiful game. And it's it's as big as if I'm playing in a theater all by myself. And suddenly that changes how I ingest games. Cause that's, we talk about it all the time, or I talk about it all the time, right? Of like, I love The Walking Dead. Oh my God. My Sundays, I start getting excited. I'm going to make food. Then I'll go over the DVR and I'll watch it. And so many episodes I'm watching and I notice myself checking Twitter and news. I'm like, wait, why? I've been looking forward to this all day. Stop. And you got to focus. You know what I mean? When suddenly I can use this to lock out everything and not have to worry about if somebody's texting me or if, whatever, that's going to be different for me. And I really feel like, I know Colin is he's always like, the theater mode doesn't matter. It's not blah, blah, blah. I think it's going to matter more than people think, because I think what's going to happen is you're going to spend $300 in this headset and you're going to play these experiences, and then it's going to sit there and you're going to be like, fuck, did I waste my money on that? And if it didn't have theater mode, if it didn't have a way, like, I'm really in, like, again, No Man's Sky would be a game I would love to boom, boom, and just play and be left in that world and not have to worry about what's going on around me, like sensory deprivation chamber. And when you're talking about games that are therapeutic and relaxing, I feel like that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I agree. I'm somewhere in the middle with the two things, where it's like, I think that the theater mode is very important, but that's not a selling point. I think that
I don't think it's a selling point.
It's a thing for the people that have it. They're going to use that because, you can, it's all just a thing about making your life a little bit better.
Yeah.
All the things you're describing, that's such a personal thing to
100%.
you. Granted, a lot of people deal with that same thing, but it's like, that's the equivalent to, like, I'm not going to play games unless I have this TV or these headphones I'm using. And I'm like that. I need a very specific way to play games. Like, lights need to be a certain way, whatever else. I feel distracted. I feel like it's taken away from the experience I'm having. So yeah, like anything, if you care about games that much, it's going to be great for you, because you're going to have just more options to play games a way that you might prefer.
Yeah.
And if you do prefer that way, then all of a sudden VR is going to be great. But that's the thing of, will it succeed or will it not? We'll see.
Yeah.
I think that the answer is no. They need to prove yes.
Right.
And I don't think that they will, but I think that they're okay with that. So I don't think it's going to affect Neo at all.
And that's the whole thing with Wave 1 PlayStation VR. I do think, they're totally okay with it not setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
I think that they know that that's not going to happen. And it is that they're hoping Wave 2 is bundled with PlayStation 5 or does this and does that. And there's some thing there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first ever episode 80 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast.
Kind of Funny Datecast.
Yeah.
We had Froyo. What'd you
We did have Froyo. I said, how the fuck you like that?
Oh, okay, good. I thought you were saying you're going to fuck me like that. I was like, what?
Oh, I'm going to fuck him like
that.
No,
this Datecast got
we'll
weird.
Have to see you later. Bye.